been wanting to do it quite extensively for quite some time. I don't think a small episode like this is going to cover what I've learned and my observations and what I think is funny and what I think you should know about it. But today, I've been dipping my toes into sometimes these panel shows where you get one host, and it's usually a couple of men, and then there's another one where there's a woman. And I don't know if I'm meant to talk about the names of them or anything. I don't know. Maybe I'll drop it later. But they get a panel of airheaded, vacuous, loser women on there to give their opinions about life and relationships and psychology and things like that. And then sometimes they talk about something of substance, but not usually. And I'd seen a couple because I was involved with someone that loved those shows, and I'd, go on there and I'd say, okay, what's the big deal? Oh, you must be looking at the girls, right? They all come on scantily clad because they tend to be OnlyFans, quote unquote, models, content creators, or Instagram influencers, or whatever the term is. And so I'd watch it and I'd be sort of not jealous, but I'd be like, as a woman, I hate the phrase as a blah, blah, blah qualification here, but as a woman, I'll be like, what are you looking at? This whole panel has absolutely nothing to offer you in the way of intellectual stimulation and barely looks, to be honest with you. And when they go round, they say, oh, what do you rate yourself? Bitches all saying, I'm a 10. Honey, you are 3.5 at best on a dark night with a lot of makeup. And I just was watching these things going, look, I can't take this shit. And so I stopped watching them. And then it has played on my mind though, because I don't know, but it just seems like it's the majority of women that think this way, and it's the majority of men that think this way. And I know it's only a show and probably barely anyone in the grand scheme of the population of the earth is watching this stuff. But it's it's both soul crushing and also I'm walking away from this shit today feeling like a freaking goddess. I feel so good about myself. It's not even funny. And I feel horrible for saying that and thinking that, but shit. These women that they choose to bring on the show have literally nothing to offer. Well, nothing that I haven't seen before. So, I was watching this show. I sat there, I sat there for, I think it was on for, what's the time now? Ooh, over 3 hours. I sat there just looking at that. And then the chat raging down the side is another story altogether, which is why I think this kind of topic does deserve more than one episode on it. But I just had to put this out today because, again, feeling a little superior right now. I'm not sure that's healthy either. So the components of these kind of podcast setups with the panel are usually that the host is very man-leading, manosphere, women need to respect men, but men can cheat on them and that kind of stuff, which in context, when they explain it, I see what they're trying to say, how a high, quote unquote, high value man, like a NBA basketball player making millions and millions of dollars a year, do you want to be the side hoe that gets bought stuff and played around with, but do you also want to be the wife at home with the kids who gets it long term? They have all these kinds of debates. And then they also have debates on whether, like today, they were asked, these girls, they were asked if their significant other asked them to delete their OnlyFans or their Instagram where they make their money showing their assholes, if that they would do it. And a lot of them were like, hell no, unless the guy brings in that money for me. Things like that. So that's generally what they kind of speak about, and watching these women formulate answers to justify their shitty, disgusting, low, degenerate behavior is both, again, cringe, but kind of entertaining. And I never saw that before. I think today, and I think a few days ago, I watched some of one of these very early in the morning because, of course, they're American, so time difference, blah, blah, blah. And they're really something. So yeah, you get that component. So you've got the hosts where, for the most part, I can see where they're coming from and I agree with a lot of what they say. But at the same time, I'm like, that's not all women, because for me, I'm another story. I'll get onto that later, hopefully. Some women, like myself, have gotten to the age that we're at, not because we wasted our life trying to be a hoe like these people. So the premise is, you guys can't do this forever. Stop being a hoe. No man's going to want you later when your looks fade, when you get upwards towards 30. Or, that's one of the things that they try and hammer home in every single show. And I try to say, because they say after that, you're not valuable and that kind of stuff. And I try to say, look, for myself, I'm not married or anything like that. But it's not because I spent my time hoeing around. Unfortunately, I was raised too good. That's what I think anyway. I was raised pretty moral. I was raised not to, talk back and all that kind of stuff. And so when I got involved with, I credit two men for wasting my good years. One for 6 years, one for 7 years. And both of them were in different ways, literally abusive. And one of the things on these shows that pisses me off is they make fun of women that say that, because a lot of women do lie, and a lot of women count quote unquote abuse as just being told something while people are arguing, or you're like this, why do you have to be like this, and how dare you abuse me. I'm talking about real abuse, and I'm talking about how hard it is to leave somebody like that because you don't know better, or you were young and you kind of grew into your adulthood with them. And so different situations go on at different times. And so when they rage on about, oh, you were too dumb to leave and all that, I do have a soft spot for the girls that say, what the hell are you talking about, how could you, and that actually have been through something. So again, sometimes you reach an age where you are looked at as you probably hoed around, that's why you're this age and you have nothing. And for some people, unfortunately, life just happened. We didn't get out in time. So when I watch it, I dislike the panel of girls, but I also dislike the two idiots that are hosting, or the person that's a female that's hosting that has been privileged enough to grow up in an atmosphere where the caliber of men she meets don't treat women like that. Then, so we've got the hosts, we got the girls, we've got the whole premise that over a certain age you aren't worthy or men don't like you. Psst, I'll just let you know. And I feel like I can't talk about this. Again, as a woman, if you say another woman's unattractive or stupid or whatever, people go, oh, you're just jealous. I can't do this episode without saying what I'm going to say, and make of it what you will. Front on, I have symmetrical features. I am what you call attractive. People's eyes are attracted to looking at me. I'm a people person. I have multiple talents, so much so that I've never been able to stick with one thing because I just didn't know what I was supposed to throw myself into. So we're talking, stage, singing, art, obviously my books, writing, the blog, all of this stuff. And that goes besides the fact that I've studied to be a paralegal, all of this stuff. It was all presented to me, and because of my IQ, I had all these opportunities and got so freaking confused. But for me, being someone that has a reasonably high IQ, looked at as attractive, it's not a big deal to me to have attention. And so I'm not famous or anything like that, but throughout my life, I've always pursued hobbies like stage and, like I was saying, where eyes are on me. I don't really understand attention unless I've actually displayed a talent or a skill to get it. And so when these women are showing their buttholes for $3.99 a month, I don't think very much of it. I just don't understand. Can't you sing instead? Can't you paint something? I don't get it. And so it doesn't make me respect them very much. I respect the hustle. Yeah, people are dumb if they're going to pay that. Milk them, do your thing, girl. But at the same time, I don't respect that because I don't understand how you could crave attention for doing nothing. The internet as a whole is pretty thirsty. You can take your top off, you can flash a side boob on a podcast or whatever, and then you get all these followers. I just don't get it. I don't understand why that would bring you satisfaction, because you're doing something anybody could do, any female can do. And that's one of the reasons why I don't have my image in very many places. A lot of times I think people think that that's because they see a filtered image and they're like, oh, you must be ugly, that's why you did it. Oh, actually it's kind of the opposite. I don't want accolades for looking a certain way. My parents were individually hot. That's why I have sort of semi-decent genetics. I didn't do anything for it. I want my attention or my support or whatever to come from the fact that I'm saying something or I'm providing something that you're getting a kick out of, whether it's information or just a few laughs, or whether I'm funny or not, or you on the John right now listening to this because taking a shit is boring, whatever it is. I want to actually deserve the accolades. So again, don't really respect people that show their asshole for money. And then I wanted to hit back at the host. So the other things that the hosts say is that when you get a certain age, nobody gives a shit about you, and you know, you're going to have to find another career path and all that. Yeah, but again, what I was saying before, sometimes you get to the age I'm at and it's just a series of unfortunate events that have led to you being single or being just not having, say, the family or whatever that's textbook. And one of the other things I wanted to add to that was that they say, you know, when you reach a certain age, nobody's going to want to look twice at you. Yeah, not everybody. I can honestly tell you that the amount of attention that I received from men 20 years ago is the exact same volume as it is now. The only thing that's changed, I will say, and we're very lucky in Australia because it seems the US is a little bit more like a woman will turn around and scream at you for talking to her in a cafe. But Australia, we still get people, like get men coming up to you and hitting on you, which is nice. And I can tell you, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. It's changed for me where when a man comes up to me, I look on his finger if he's married because I don't want to mess with that, you know. But that's it. That's all that's changed for me. And the fact that oftentimes these men have a kid somewhere with somebody that I'm going to have to meet and put up with and that kind of stuff. Because, you know, as you get older, people have different life experiences, seemingly everyone except me at this point. But yeah, so that was the other thing. But back to the girls, because the girls are what draw in the men. Because everybody likes a pile on, everyone wants a dog pile. If people like to bully because it brings them together and they make jokes and everything. I think it's human nature. It sucks. I had been on the receiving end, you know, in school and everything, as a lot of people probably have, but it's what is part of the entertainment. Today I'm watching this thing and there's a few girls on there and very, very clearly plastic surgery addicted. And one of them was just... it didn't look good. It didn't look good. And a lot of the comments were instantly like, oh my God, that's actually a man. The face is pulled back too far. It looks like the purge mask and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, it was mean, but it was funny because it was true. What in the hell possessed you to do that to yourself? And then put down other people that are natural or put down the people making comment on it. You put yourself out there to look that way. Surely you expect some backlash, although nearly every comment was bagging her out, which I thought after a while I was like, look, you don't need to be doing that. She has to look at herself every day in the mirror. She knows deep down. Okay, at the end of the day, she happened to say, oh, well, I don't really give a shit because I've got 2 Lamborghinis and I've got money. So, I mean, look, if it works for you, whatever, who am I to say anything? But yeah, the girls on there, not very attractive, and seemingly they think they're attractive. So you have the chat down the side that are seeing these delusional women and applying that to every woman. And there's people in there giving each other advice and everything. And then, you know, further down, you're watching everyone interact and talk and everything. You come to the conclusion, oh, that one that's telling everyone don't go out with a woman with kids. Oh, he's 24. Yeah, of course. For a 24-year-old, yes, 100%. I agree with what you're saying. But you're also preaching that to someone that's behind a screen that's 45 years old and might be a man that is delusional, thinking he's going to get a woman without kids at that age. And it's probably very minuscule that you'll meet a woman, say, you know, over 35, whether she had the perfect relationship and she's now divorced or, you know, whatever it is, she most likely is going to have a couple of kids. And so this 20-something-year-old spouting his wealth of wisdom to people that are probably dumb enough to believe him and think that way, thinking, oh, he must be my age. So that's the kind of stuff that's in the chat. Very few females. I think today, in this particular one that I was in, I think it was me and I think one other person outed themselves as a female, which normally I don't. I mean, obviously, if you look at my profile picture, like the red one, I took that because it was ironic. I was being like, if you've never seen it, you find it somewhere, I don't know, maybe on my locals or BitChute or whatever. It's a red tinted picture. I had a red light globe and I had high heels and a bunny mask and I had my book and I'm sitting on a bed. I have panties on, I have a bra and everything, but I'm sitting there with my book like, hey boys, and I did it to be ironic. And you know, so you could probably tell if you gave a shit enough to click on my comment and go to my profile, you'd be, oh, okay, yeah, it is a girl or someone that's claiming to be a woman. This is the internet, who knows who's behind the screen. And yeah, so me and maybe one other just out there observing. I'm just looking at what's out there, what people are being fed, what people are interpreting, and what people are bringing to the table and presenting in the way of these women, quote unquote women. And none of them come across as women as such. They all brag that, yeah, I've got my money and I've got this all together, but it's they're exploiting their feminine attributes, so their booty or their boobies or whatever, but they're coming across very masculine in the way that they want to dominate. And so that's another thing that these panels talk about, is you're not going to find somebody that's better than you, because it's really freaking hard for the average man. Average man's not going to make as much as you, and that's intimidating, and then it changes the balance of the relationship. And so sometimes they do go a little deep, and sometimes it's too deep for these girls who are struggling and deliberately finding a personal attack in it. And yeah, I don't really have, I've got to end this soon because this is getting too long, and I know you probably don't give a shit, but it's more, I don't have anything against anyone a lot. Like I'm not angry at any part of this panel as I was when I first was watching little snippets of them, because I didn't understand it. This is a magnifying glass on the idiocy that the human race is becoming, I think. And so I've got a kind of respect for these shows that I don't understand. I think it's wrong to exploit idiots. I think it's sad, and you shouldn't be making money off them. But at the same time, I'm glad that I'm aware people like that exist in the world, because that would account for the way the political system is and who's in power at any given time. It goes for the people that serve you in restaurants. It's adding to the culture, and I'm glad that I've gotten to observe where some of it comes from. So I would say, would I suggest you to look at one of these panel shows? Yes, but I would say that I've learned over too much. Please don't spend this much time, getting to know it. But I've learned that you need to look at it through, like when you go and watch a nature documentary, like the hyena is going to go kill the whatever, and you can't do anything about it. You just, look away, but you got to look back. It's an entertainment factor that's pretty good. In one of those reality shows, human interest things, I think. Human interest, that is the word. That is the phrase, human interest. I have no interest in knowing people that live their lives the way the hosts maintain they do, but I also have absolutely no interest in having women like that in my life, or in my son's life, my future son or whatever, or my brother's life, or my good friends who are mostly straight males who don't want to F me. We've grown up together. It's brother sister kind of thing, but I care about what they're going into and the types of women they're going to meet, and it's very disheartening. But at the same time, ladies, go and watch it. Go and watch how all of these sides of people think, because this is why you're getting treated like shit from some men sometimes and not respected, because these women are what they see and what they think all women are like. Go and watch it. It's very eye-opening. And if you've got any sort of morals or accountability or self-reflection or anything like that, or you were raised right, you walk away feeling like a freaking goddess. I'm sitting here like, yeah, I could show my boobies on camera and stuff. I choose not to. And I'm proud that I've made that choice, because I want you to see the person. I want you to get to know the person. I know that people say that's a cop-out and everything, because when I walk in a restaurant or a club or something where I want that male attention, bitch, you can be sure I'm going to slap on a little bit of makeup and I'll get everyone in that restaurant to turn and look at me. But that's a power that I don't invoke, because there's so much more to not just me, but to life and to other people. And so you walk away from these ladies, when you watch this, you walk away thinking, oh God, these women are making bad names for me. But at the same time, the fact I'm talented, or the fact that I have a goal and an education, and I'm personable, and I will serve my partner if I find one, if I've got one, I will dedicate my life to making sure us as a family unit is going to go through and have a good existence. When you have that attitude and you were raised that way and you were brought up that way, and that's your morals, and you watch a show like this, you walk away feeling fantastic. congratulations, your parents did a good job and you reflected on yourself and your behavior and you've kept yourself to a great standard in the face of all this shit bombarding us to be this way. These shows get off on telling women things that they should already know, that are common sense, that should have been taught to them by parents, or that they came to the conclusion on their own. They just weren't freaking smart enough, apparently. And while I'm still on my high horse surfing this great feeling, I want to say that men, if you find a woman that really cares about you and that has kept herself nice, not to like be overly sexist or whatever, I'm keeping myself nice for a man, but just someone that has kept herself neat and in good condition and has a low body count and just is a decent person. Apparently people like that are now hard to find. And so if you find someone like that, please don't let it go. Work through things. Just see this person for the special person that they are. And that goes for women with men as well. If you find a man that aren't like these panel guys, that aren't like the hosts, that genuinely respect you as a human being and respect the experiences that you've gone through or that you haven't gone through and want to grow with you as a person and everything, there honestly is a lot to be said for two people that have found each other in this shithole world and have made the commitment to go through it together and to help each other and to grow and to contribute to humanity / the world in a meaningful way. Please don't throw them away, because watching these panel shows and everything, we're gonna need you. Okay, we need people like you to produce the next generation or to help your friends and community to not end up like these people running these shows or appearing on these shows. So please respect the person if you found them and just hold on to them. This life is very short. And so for me, I'm recording this on a Saturday afternoon and I've been down. I've been so low. I've been so upset for the past couple of weeks, so like on the personal level, and some stuff's happening with my slave gig where I've been for 10 years. And you know, all this stuff has really got me down, and watching that today feel like $1,000,000. Thanks for listening.